Any tips on avoiding booze? Yeah, that's a real tough one. Well, I would say a couple of things. There is a drug, if you're a binge drinker, there is a drug called naltrexone that you could consider, and you take naltrexone every day. It doesn't really have any psychological effect on you, but if you're a naltrexone responder, what will happen is that it will dampen your positive response to alcohol. So some people who are alcoholic, many of them have a very pronounced uh, an opiate effect from alcohol. It looks like it's mediated by beta endorphin, and naltrexone is an opiate blocker. And so what naltrexone seems to do is dampen the positive response. And the positive response, which would be opiate and then dopaminergic, is the same response that makes you want to keep drinking when you start drinking. So if you're one of those people that has a drink and then has to have another one and then has to have another one, and soon all your money's gone, then the probability that you have an opiate response is pretty high. And naltrexone can help with that. Generally, when people take naltrexone, they keep drinking. They try to control it, but they keep drinking, and they learn over time that the alcohol doesn't have the same punch. It's still pleasant, but doesn't have the same overwhelming punch that it did at one point. So that would be one suggestion, and it's worth trying. The other is, make a plan. I would say do the future authoring program, because it isn't that you're trying to avoid booze exactly. It's that you're trying to restructure your whole life, because if you're a drinker, then all your friends are drinkers, and you're used to drinking in every social situation, and the places that you go to socialize are places that you drink, and it's really built in as a whole set of habits. And so what you have to do is kind of redesign your life, and you have to think of things. You can't just stop drinking. You have to figure out what you're going to start doing instead of drinking. There's a hole that you have to fill. And the future authoring program will also help you figure out what your life could look like in the absence of alcohol, and what kind of hell you could end up in if you keep drinking and it causes all the problems that it can cause. And I think you really need to, you need to think through the hell that can occur, and you have to think through how your life could be valuable without alcohol, so that you can be motivated enough to try to regulate it. And I would also say, if you fail and slip, don't berate yourself and beat yourself up. Just start quitting again, because if you could cut your alcohol intake down 75%, that's a hell of a lot better than zero. And often people go all or nothing, just like they do when they're quitting cigarettes, and they'll quit for a month and then have cigarette and they'll say, "Oh my God, now I've broken the pact," and then they'll smoke a whole pack and they'll be smoking again. You don't have to do that. You can just decide that you slipped and that you're going to get back on the wagon again. And it can take a long time, but I do believe that you need a better vision of life, right? You have to find something to do that's better than alcohol. And that might take some real consideration, especially if alcohol is a very potent drug for you. And I would also say don't hesitate to try the naltrexone. It's got a pretty decent clinical. History, and it's basically harmless. So